Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week for our industry update. As always, please mute your lines and reserve your questions to the chat feature to everyone. Make sure you pick to everyone. We have a full schedule here today. Amy Hathaway is going to be joining us at the beginning of the program, and then John and Melissa will continue with the update after her presentation. With that, I'm going to turn this over to John Longstreet for some introductions.
Thank you, Hope, and welcome to everyone that's joining us again today. And thanks for being here. It's always great to have everyone with us. As a reminder, today's webinar is designed for the use and benefit of our PRLA members and non-members, those in the restaurant and hotel community, and our friends within the industry as well, and travel and tourism. It's an off-the-record webinar. It's not for press purposes. We're always happy to entertain any and all press inquiries, but not at this time. So if you're with the press, please disconnect and call us back later. Melissa has some very important updates coming in a few moments now. There's a lot of information this week that you'll need to hear about. But before Melissa gets to that, I wanted to introduce to you a new benefit that's available for PRLA members' employees. This is a really important benefit, particularly at this time when it is so difficult to get and keep team members on your teams. Everyone agrees that staffing is the #1 crisis that we have right now. This is a benefit that you can offer with no cost to you. And we are the first state to work with United Health Group on this. And it's an affordable health insurance option for both families and individuals. And it's a multi-carrier program that covers medical, dental, vision, life, disability, and Medicare. And it's available to full and part-time employees. It's something that has not been available previously for many employees of our industry. So with that, I'm happy to introduce one of our partners, Amy Hathaway from United Health Group, who is going to discuss the program briefly today with you and how you can get engaged in this for your employees. Another benefit you can offer to keep and to retain new team members. Amy, take it away.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. As John said, we do have an offering, a brand new offering for you guys, and it is in the individual and family. But I am going to take a few minutes and not overstay my welcome and give you a review of the entire program that we have for you, because you see that we have grown quite a bit to include a more whole person wellness approach. So if Eric could forward to the first slide. When I talk about whole person wellness, I'm talking about more than just your physical health. So we have all these bubbles in front of you here, and they tell you about all the different programs or companies that participate in the program that we have for members of PRLA. We are meant to address your physical health, your mental health, and your social health, because all of them are important. They're all inextricably entwined, and they all make up your overall wellness. So as we talk today, I'm going to go through this all very quickly. We won't touch on everything, but my contact information will be at the very end. So please, if you have any questions, reach out to me then. So the first offering we have is through United Healthcare, and the United Healthcare offering, you can move to the next slide, please, Eric. Thank you. The United Healthcare offering is an employer-sponsored product. This has been in the program for a long time. This offers employers special pricing and discount on United Healthcare plans. The discounts vary by dental, by group size. Dental, if you have 2 or more employees, 5% discount actually on all specialty, dental, vision, life, disability, critical illness. If you have more than 50 employees, now medical discounts are available. And if you have more than 100, 150 and you decide to go self-funded, we have administrative credits that we can give you as well. As John stated, there's a labor crisis right now. We are very, very aware of that. So United Healthcare has put together for the association a Getting Back to Work campaign. The whole the hospitality industry benefits from this because it is exclusively for restaurants, bars, and lodging. Through that program, it goes from new business that might be new to United Healthcare starting May of 2021 all the way to March of 2022. It offers additional discounts and additional value-added services that typically come with a cost associated with them. They're offering those at no cost right now. So if you are interested in offering employee benefits, I know that that's one of the questions people ask when they are a job seeker. Do you offer health insurance? This program can help you save some money on that, especially right now with the Getting Back to Work program. So if you have any questions, my contact information will be on the last slide. Please reach out to me and I'll help you. So going to what John teased at the very beginning, this is a brand new offering we have in Pennsylvania. We rolled it out at the end of April, and this is insurance for individual and family. So unlike the United Healthcare offering, which is employer purchased and given to his employees, this is individual and family insurance. So this is for that employer that perhaps benefits are just not in the budget, because we know benefits are not cheap. They're not in the budget, but he still wants to cover his individual family. This is a place to go. Or the employee who works for an employer who does offer coverage, but due to their hours work, they're not eligible. Or how about that individual who's about to age off their parents' plan? They are now too old to stay on their parents' plan. They need health insurance. This helps them too. You'll see there is an 800 number, a toll-free number. So the 855 toll-free number. This is specifically staffed by licensed agents and licensed in Pennsylvania who can help get all the information you need. They'll collect the necessary data from you and be able to give you quotes both on exchange and off exchange. They can show you dental, vision, life, all of these different offerings as well from multiple carriers. So all the shopping can be done for you. Not only can they run the quotes there, if you're eligible for any subsidies, they can help get those applied, and they can take you all the way through enrollment. So it is really one place for you to go to get everything you need. But why is this important right now? There's a couple of reasons. The first thing, the American Rescue Plan, that was passed back in March. I'm sure Melissa has mentioned that to you more than once. And that one part of that allows and expands for tax credits for those purchasing coverage on the exchange. So those tax credits are now actually for those who didn't previously qualify because their income was too high. And they've also increased for those who did qualify before. So there's more available. Second reason this is very important right now is because a special enrollment period the Biden administration has created. This special enrollment period is extended through August 15th. So anybody who's needing health insurance now has until August 15th that they can look at it. Typically, open enrollment season is November 1st through November 15th. They have created the special period, runs through August 15th. You can look at it now. So if you remember nothing else from what I say this morning, because I know I'm going to give you a lot, remember that there's expanded tax credits available for financial assistance for individual health insurance. And there's a special enrollment period for you to look at that runs through August 15th. If we can move to the next slide. So we're going to take the conversation away from insurance altogether. We are no longer talking insurance. We are talking telemedicine through Teledoc. Teledoc is a fantastic partner of ours, and they are the global leader in telemedicine. What telemedicine is as a core is it is medical consultations by a licensed physician via phone or via video. It's as simple as that. And with this offering you see on your screen here, we're giving you unlimited access for mental health, medical, dermatology, back care, second opinions. It's a fantastic, very robust offering. $7 per employee per month covers your employee, spouse, and children as well. And each time they use the service, it's a $0 cost to them. So talking about the medical insurance, about 70% of the reasons that we ever go to the doctor, we actually probably don't need to be seen in person. It's for stuff like allergies and asthmas and pink eye, sore throats, headaches, earaches, stuff like that. And depending on the time of day that it might hit you the hardest, let's say it happens at 11 at night. Well, your doctor's office isn't open. So where do you go? Typically, then you are at the high cost of emergency room or 24-hour urgent care center. So this allows you to have it at home, you know, on the time you need it, access when you need it. Another thing it does is it saves you a lot of time. 121 minutes is the actual average time it costs for a visit, from driving to the waiting room, to being seen, to driving home. And I did not even take into consideration the cost if the prescription's needed. So that saves you time right there. Potentially saves you the time of needed if you have to get childcare. So it's a great offering, and we are talking about it a lot. It's been very popular across the country. I'm going to tell you that most of the conversations right now, though, are regarding the mental health conversation. We've all been through a lot. If anybody came through the last year and this year without some bumps or scrapes or unscathed in any way, it's pretty surprising. So the stigma of mental health is also being lifted. People realize it's okay to talk about it, and it's really okay to get care if you need it. Well, this can help. And how it helps is you set up once you've enrolled, you get an app and you set up the type of care you're looking for. Maybe you have anxiety and depression, and you want to see somebody for that. You can set up an appointment with that provider. It can be anywhere from a psychiatrist all the way down to a psychologist, therapist, counselor, whatever level of care you need. The appointment is usually made within 7 days. And if you have a connection, you want to continue to keep seeing this provider, ongoing visits cost you $0. $0 for the first visit, $0 for ongoing visit. This is important, especially in mental health. A lot of people aren't aware, 55% of all the counties in the United States have no psychiatrist in them. 64% of the counties in the US also have, they don't have enough mental health providers, period. So this is help addressing that need. PRLA does have this link to their website. We are all able to enroll right from there. But if you have any information, again, my information will be on the last slide. Please reach out to me then. Moving on to Let's Get Checked. Let'sGetChecked.com, at-home lab tests. You see all of the tests that are available there. Typically, you see these tests in your pharmacy. A lot of times they're at the end caps. Through Let'sGetChecked.com, use hospitality code 30. You get a 30% off retail. Order the test, get it sent to your home, collect the sample, send it back. Your results are then put on the online dashboard that you created during the ordering process. Why is this important? Since March of 2020, there has been an 80% reduction in health screenings. So if you think about 80% reduction in health screenings, and 70% of all diagnoses are driven off lab results based from those screenings, you know, there's a lot of people walking around that might not be aware of conditions that are going on. So perhaps somebody here has a history of cholesterol in their family, or a history of diabetes in their family, or maybe they're extraordinarily active outdoors and they've had some symptoms going on right now and they're interested, maybe, you know, what if I contracted Lyme disease last year? You see there's a wide variety of tests, order the tests. If your results are anything outside of the normal range, you will get contacted by a medical provider who will talk to you about next steps. So the results will not be sent to your dashboard and you'll be like, now what? If they're outside of normal, you will also be contacted. So this is another way for you to take care of yourself. And moving on to the last screen, the last slide is Optum Perks. This has been in our program for quite a while. I believe we rolled this out to Pennsylvania in April of 2018. This is really simple. This is discounts off FDA approved drugs. There's over 64,000 pharmacies that you can go to, and you can get an average of 47% discount up to 80%. Neat part of this is on the, if you visit your the website there, the perks.optum.com, there is a place where you can put in the name and the doses of the drug you're looking to take. and it will give you a geographic search of your area to show the different prices of the different pharmacies. I did this for a very commonly prescribed antibiotic that I needed to take. The range was kind of shocking. It was $14 on the low end to $60 on the high end. So it really wasn't hard for me to decide where I was going to go to purchase that drug. It was very easy. I just showed the my card to the pharmacist, paid the discounted rate, and out I went. So I know I went through a lot in a short amount of time, but as I stated at the beginning, I do not want to overstay my welcome. So the last slide, as promised, shows you my contact information. Please, any single questions that you have, okay, I don't see it, but it's
Apparently
Amy.
we edited that out. I'll send it out
It
with
was
the,
it was actually the first slide had the contact information, but we'll put it
Did
in the
it?
chat. We'll put it in the chat field.
Okay.
I know somebody can get that up for you, Amy. Thank you.
Absolutely, I'd appreciate that. And we have a lot of, the slide does have a lot of information on no fee mental health services we have as well. So there's a ton of them. Anybody can email me as well, and I will share that list of no fee mental health services with them.
All right. Amy, thanks so much. There was one question. If you have
Yes.
already have insurance, can you still enroll in Teledoc?
Oh, absolutely. The Teledoc
great.
offering is standalone. So the beauty of that is if you already have insurance, you can make the decision, you know, do I want to use my copay, or if you have a high deductible health plan, maybe all the office visits go to your deductible. Maybe you don't want to have that charge. So what you can do is if you enroll in this offering, that would be $0 copay, but it gives you an option after your doctor visit to send your results to your local provider, so they have a full list. There's no gaps in care. There's no gaps in anything. They know of the visit. They know the what the call was about, what the outcome was. So they have a full understanding of what the visit was about. So absolutely, for those without, those with.
Excellent. Thanks very much. And again, if
You're
somebody
welcome.
at the PRLA team would please put Amy's contact information in the chat field, we'll be all set here. Thank you. Thanks again, Amy. Appreciate
You're
the
welcome.
partnership. Yeah.
Thank you.
And now I'm sure she's ready. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Melissa Bova.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks and a lot of things have happened in the last couple weeks. So let's start where we always do, which is federal update, which is really, I think, the only reason any of you are even on the call today is probably for a federal update on the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. I updated you a couple weeks ago. The fund was overextended. We expected it to be overextended. We warned you about 2 months ago that you should expect it to be overextended, and it was. So the 28.6 billion is being put out right now. There were over 75 billion in funding requests. As you all know, or as we mentioned on previous webinars, of which for those of you that are lifers, you remember there was a lawsuit that basically said that the way the RRF was set up, where only minority, women-owned, or veteran-owned businesses could get funds for the first 21 days, the courts had ruled that that was illegal, that that couldn't happen. But at the time, the 21 days was over. So since the court had ruled after that 21 days was over, the SBA kind of said that's a moot point because we're already through the 21 days. Since then, it's gotten worse, but almost helps us in a way to get more funding, because since then the SBA has said, if you are one of those business owners, minority, women-owned, veteran-owned business owners, and you haven't received your funds yet from the RRF, you're not going to. So if anybody was in that category, was waiting to receive funds, the SBA essentially said, now you won't. So in addition to hundreds of thousands of you applying and not getting any of the 28.6 billion, there's now about 3,000 minority, veteran, women-owned businesses that thought they were getting money and just found out that they were not. So this does not mean, for those of you that haven't received funds, that you're thinking, now I'm going to get some of it. It's 3,000 in a pool of hundreds of thousands that they're going to redirect to other businesses. So please do not think, you know, now your grant money is coming from the RRF. But it helps. It's kind of one of those things that people are getting riled up about. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And what is the only solution we have to get more funding into that for all of you? Legislation has been introduced. It is in there. We did have an action alert that went out. It is the Rrf Replenishment Act. I know that's a very exciting original name, but that is actually being sponsored by Pennsylvania's own Brian Fitzpatrick. Congressman Fitzpatrick is a prime sponsor, and it would dedicate $60 billion back into the Rrf. Via new funding is how the legislation is written, but it could be that we find $60 billion and one of those funds from the American Rescue Plan that hasn't been used yet, and we could redirect it there. But the only thing that we can do right now is get more funds into that. And to that end, I talked about this before, you need to talk to the Republican congressional delegation within our state. The Democrats support it. The Democrats would refund the Rrf. We need the Republicans to support it as well. So whatever angle you need to take, whether it's I'm not eligible at all because I'm not one of the original 21-day applicants that were allowed to get it first, or if you were one of those applicants that didn't get your funds because of the lawsuit, we really need our congressional delegation to understand, one, we need more funds, but also they shouldn't presume that just because we're back to 100% in theory that we're back to normal operations. We aren't. I was on a call with a reporter a little bit ago, and I said, we were wrecked for 15 months. We're not going to be back in a month or two. So we do need to keep the pressure on to get more of those funds. This is not a right now thing. So I know some of you are texting me every single day with asking me an update of what's the status on Rrf? When are we going to get more funds? This is not an immediate thing. This could take months. So as I said before, our top federal priority is to get you those funds. The National Restaurant Association has led on this fight to get more funds, but you should not expect it within the next week or two or next month. So just stay tuned. Like I said, when we got the second PPP, that didn't happen right away. This is going to take time, but what you can do right now is make sure our entire congressional delegation is supportive of the industry by finding the $60 billion we need to get you all funded the way you need. Okay. Has anybody seen the news this week? If you have, you probably saw me no less than 6 times at this point, depending on where you live. I apologize, especially for my friends in Philadelphia. Ben made me do all the calls this week, so it's Ben's fault that you saw me instead of Ben for once. Here's where we are. I'm going to try and give you a breakdown and explain it in simple speak, but it's complicated per usual. You all went to the polls on May 18th. The people spoke. The people said, we do not want the governor to have unilateral authority to declare an emergency declaration in perpetuity. That's kind of in gist what passed on May 18th. From there, the legislature was moving forward with kind of a halfway bill in terms of ending the emergency declaration. So essentially, the House was moving a bill that said, we're going to keep the declaration in place because we need all of these federal funds and federal benefits we're getting, but we're going to say to the governor, you can't mitigate anymore, you can't do social distancing, you can't do all of the things that basically were an attack to our industry. They were putting that in the bill. So they're like, you can still get the federal funds, we need that, and we need some of these federal permissions, but you can't do the rest. Last week, some members of the House decided that the people spoke. The people don't want an emergency declaration any longer. And the House voted to end it immediately last week. So make it go away completely. That bill went to the Senate. The Senate kind of said, whoa, Nelly, we have a lot of federal funds we still need. We have a lot of orders and waivers and things that we should still keep in place. So the Senate attempted last week to basically say, if you have a waiver, an order, or something that was in place because of the emergency declaration, that can continue until September 30th of this year. So we found out last week that because cocktails to go was not an order or a waiver or a suspending of a statute, it was a bill the legislature passed. It didn't cover cocktails to go. So we knew and informed you all last Wednesday that we expected to lose cocktails to go when the emergency declaration officially concluded. On Friday, we found out in pure fun that comes with reading legislation that the effort to basically keep other orders in place applies to executive agencies of which the PLCB is not, which is why on Friday, and you all got an email from us Monday morning, we found out that we were going to be losing our ability to have outdoor seating when the emergency declaration ended as well. Yesterday, the votes were finally certified from the election, and upon the votes being certified, the declaration ended. So yesterday at about 4 p.m., you all licensees received a communication from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board saying, sorry, everything's over. You can't do cocktails to go. You can continue. If you want to do outdoor seating, you need to apply for an official permit. So you need to pay that $220 fee. You need to get re-inspected. And essentially what the LCB is saying is if you do all of that, we'll let you continue with outdoor seating until we come and inspect you, like in the interim. But if you don't immediately apply to make it permanent, you are operating illegally. So this was not a 30-day warning. This was when the emergency declaration ended. So did these two provisions. I don't want to say that this isn't PRLA's fault, but it's really not our fault because as you all know, since you're on my webinar every week or every other week, about 2 or 3 months ago, we introduced legislation that would ensure that we wouldn't lose things like cocktails to go and outdoor seating. And they passed, outdoor seating passed unanimously through the House, passed 187 to 14 through the House. The cocktails to go passed 187 to 14. And to the Senate, they went and there they sat. So when all of this happened last week, we immediately reached out to the Senate and said, can we please move these bills? They're important. We're running out of time. But there was a desire amongst the Senate to include a provision as it pertains to ready to drink canned cocktails and allowing restaurants and beer distributors to sell ready to drink canned cocktails and to allow beer wholesalers to sell them in lieu of you buying them from the state store. Quite honestly, PRLA had concerns with that because the governor has stated unilaterally that he would veto the bill if that provision was included. That is what he said. That's what we know. Yesterday, the Senate did decide to include those provisions in House Bill 1154, which is our cocktails to go bill. It now includes ready to drink canned cocktails, which again, we support, but we also don't want to veto either. We're really at a point right now. We asked all of you this week to reach out to your legislators, ask them to support the industry. We still need them to support the industry. At this point, if the legislature wants to include ready to drink cocktails, if they think that there's a path to get it done, we can't afford to fight with them on it. We need to support the bill and get it to the governor. And if he vetoes it, then we need to figure out how to fix that. But right now, the bill is what it is. So we will be reaching out to the legislature and just asking them to move it quickly. Because we are running out of time in terms of them being in session. They're only in session until potentially the end of next week. So we are running out of time to get this done because if they go home for the summer, it's hard to get legislators back to Harrisburg in July and August. We continue to have support from the entire legislature to address these items. But at this point, time is not on our side. So we need to move quickly and just ask people to support the bill. And we'll figure out our fate with the governor once it lands on his desk. So that's where we are right now. As I said, you have been receiving our grassroots messaging. We will be providing an updated message just to urge everybody to move quickly. And our top priority and will continue to be to make sure that these provisions go back in place for those of you that need it. And some of you don't. But we want to make sure that it's an option for those of you that still want to utilize those items. To that end, they all kind of tie together. We are in budget negotiations. The legislature has to have a budget done by June 30th. The more and more it sounds like those $7 billion in American Rescue Plan funds might not all get figured out as part of this budget. So PRLA's priorities on how those funds should be used will continue as we work through the summer. But it does look like when you have $7 billion to kind of balance a budget, they're moving pretty quickly to get a budget passed, which is why as it pertains to cocktails to go and outdoor seating, we really have to get it done by the end of the month, or we'll have to wait the summer out before we can get those addressed. Next slide. Mitigation. So Philadelphia ended their mitigation last week on Friday. So essentially, you now aren't going to turn into a pumpkin at midnight in Philadelphia. You can stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning if you are awake enough to do it. It sounds exhausting to me. But everything basically in Philadelphia ended. Philadelphia also kind of in typical Philadelphia move said, now you no longer need to wear masks either, but the state still says that if you are not vaccinated, you need a mask. But essentially across the state, there is no more mitigation. You can dance with a drink in your hand. You can line up at the bar 3 deep. For months now, you now no longer have to get chicken fingers with your beer. So we are back to where we were pre-COVID. I know your employment levels are not back to where they were pre-COVID. So we know for many of you, you're not back at 100%. But in theory, that's where we are in terms of mitigation. And then masking, of course, is slated to end June 28th. That is if we hit 70% vaccinated or not. If we hit 70% before the 28th, it will end sooner, but that is when masking requirements in Pennsylvania will end. And of course, as I mentioned on my webinar 2 weeks ago, we're waiting to see kind of what the federal guidance is, because if the federal guidance still says you need a mask if you're not vaccinated, many employers will still need to kind of keep that sign up, at least to inform employees of what they need to be doing. So we'll keep you up to date as they work through that. Like I said, I do think we're going to get an announcement from the feds before the end of the month, but just stay tuned because we might need to kind of thread the needle in terms of Pennsylvania masking guidance and then federal masking guidance as well. I think I kind of rammed through that pretty quickly. So I'll put it over to you. And I think that other chapter event is canceled on the 26th. I don't know if you're going to mention that, Hope, but I'll preempt you there. I think that got pushed back to the fall.
I believe it is too. To get to our local chapter meetings, all of them are in person now. We don't have any current ones up on this schedule here, but you can go to our website and check out the meetings and register for them there. We do have some golf outings that are coming up and some good events, so please make sure to check that out. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Heidi Howard at our office too. Next slide. Next week, we will be having a add-on webinar with our partners at ServSafe and Workmark. We are launching, they are launching a new program, ServSafe Ops, and repackaging the ServSafe dining commitment. So please check this out. It's a great new tool to use with your employees and within your establishment to help with enhancing in your training and enforcing some of the operational rules that you would like your employees to be taking advantage of. And then Melissa will be back again on June 30th. I'm taking you into November, geez. And then tomorrow, the National Restaurant Association will be having an in-depth webinar talking about vaccination, returning to work and reopening. They'll be reviewing OSHA guidelines, the revised CDC guidance for vaccination, the EEOC guidance for vaccinations, and possible vaccination passports. Next slide. The job board, as always, we are going to be launching a Level Up PR campaign about circling around our job board and around the work shortage crisis. So please make sure to get your jobs up onto that board. It is free to post there. Again, the individual and family plans, we did have United Health Group on here. Amy reviewed some of this information, but this is available on our website to check out too. And as always, please remember, training is important and the inspectors are going to be expecting your employees to be certified. So please make sure that your certifications are up to date when your inspector comes into your establishment. We are having regular classes. They are on our website for you to register for. And there are also the options of taking ServSafe online with a remote proctor. So please check all these out. And the ServSafe dining commitment, we will be reviewing all those details next week on the 23rd. And with that, I am going to turn it back over to you, Melissa.
Okay. But it's the easiest way to contact all of our Republican congressional delegation to voice our support to replenish Rrf. So the easiest way to do that is which of course, nothing is ever too easy. But every person in Congress has a contact form on their website. So basically put together a letter and just fill out the contact form and send it that way, because they do have emails and staff that work through that. So that's going to be the easiest way for you to contact somebody if they're not your congressperson. Now, definitely still do the, I think Steph or Ben or someone will put it in the chat, definitely still do the National Restaurant Association's grassroots call to action. That will go to your official congressperson via your address. But if you want to reach out to somebody who you're not the constituent of, your best bet is going to go onto their website and fill out their contact page. So popular today. Oh, and Steph did put that in there. Thank you, Steph. Just checking, does cocktails to go just refer to canned drinks? What about drinks that are mixed and covered when doing takeout? Okay, I'm going to try and go down the rabbit hole that I've been trying to go down all week to explain it, because it's complicated. And those of you that are licensed establishments, you know how complicated liquor law is. Cocktails to go, which is I will refer to as mixed drinks, is what you all have been able to do since May of last year. So that's mixing on-site, Crystal, to your question. So the margaritas that you're putting in the margarita mix, you're putting in the tequila, you're putting a lid on it and sealing it and sending it out with the customer. That is what you've been able to do for a year. That is what we're trying to extend and make permanent. And that is what the governor said he will sign. He will sign what you've been essentially been doing for a year now. Canned cocktails, currently you can only buy them through the state store system, but they are pre-canned items that you purchase and you sell within the sealed can. So you're not making them on site. And they're called ready to drink canned cocktails. So that's the language that was put into the bill yesterday. And to be clear, PRLA supports ready to drink canned cocktails. We would love for you all to be able to sell them to go. We think that is another resource and something else that you can sell to your customers. The concern is what does the governor think about it? And that's the concern when you kind of put too many things in a bill. You have to see what he'll sign and not sign. Currently, the bill contains both provisions. PRLA supports the bill because the underlying provisions address PRLA's top priorities, and we need it to go to the governor and we need him to sign it. He would sign if it didn't include these canned cocktails. Our hope is that he will still consider signing despite canned cocktails being in the bill. But at the end of the day, that is going to be up to the governor to decide. The status of House Bill 425. I'm so sorry if you guys aren't like policy nerds. I'm really going down a policy rabbit hole. So as a reminder, House Bill 425 contains our outdoor seating provisions. It contains our off-premise catering provisions. It contains the ability for you to sell product if you close permanently. That bill is still active. It's in the Senate Appropriations Committee right now. But yesterday, the Senate Law and Justice Committee took kind of all of the provisions in House Bill 425 and put them into 1154. So everything that we need is encapsulated in House Bill 1154 right now. So our outdoor seating fixes, off-premise catering permits, cocktails to go, mixed drinks to go like you've been doing for a year are all in House Bill 1154 right now. So House Bill 425 is out there, but 1154 kind of checks the box for everything now, which is why that is the vehicle the Senate is focusing on getting to the governor. And I think I just answered this question. House Bill 1154 now does include the outdoor dining legislation that was amended into the bill yesterday. So 425, like I said, is still out there, but 1154 encapsulates, now has everything that was in 425 in it. So everything we need is now in House Bill 1154. So do you suggest we stop selling to go or keep on until we are cited? I cannot tell you what to do. I can only tell you that as of yesterday, you are no longer permitted to sell to go cocktails. I don't know how quickly they're going to start enforcing, but I can tell you, if they come in and you're selling them, you can be cited for it. So all we know is that it ended yesterday, which is again, why it's so important that you continue to reach out to your state reps and your senators to get this addressed before they break for session at the end of next week. Because as of right now, you can be cited if you continue to sell them. Can a permanent extension of a premise apply to a temporary area, street area, parklet? Yes, so there are two. The cost of this is the same no matter what, because you have to get inspected no matter what. So my understanding, it's $220 either way, but if you go on to PLCB Plus, you can apply for a permanent or a temporary area. So that would apply to a streetery or a parklet. You would do it temporary or you would do it permanent, but I think the cost is the same no matter what. But you do need to at least apply to be able to continue to do it right now. Also, what is the word on the LC's functional attitude toward enforcement of outdoor emergency extension of premises in the interim? They, in their update, they essentially said that they will be enforcing. So if you do not apply and at least have the application, they're basically saying if you apply to make it permanent or apply for pay the $220 because the free extension is no longer able to apply. If you pay for that in the interim until you get final official approval from the LCB upon inspection, you can continue what you're doing. So if LCE comes out, you're going to need to show them proof that you at least applied to make it permanent. And if you didn't, you could be cited. I mean, that's, like I said, the problem that we had, and the reason we tried to move these bills before the emergency declaration ended was because we knew we'd lose them when the emergency declaration ended. And I wish the legislature didn't wait. I wish they moved the bills when they got them a month ago, but here we are. So we just need to please keep the pressure on them, because trust me, they're sick of hearing from me and I'm tired. So anything you all can do to keep the pressure on is going to be important. Let's see, friends at the DA's office shared that investigators are looking into the many companies that got PPP loans after filing fake applications. Essentially, they made up 2019 documentation, gave to banks. The banks didn't do due diligence because they just wanted to unload the money by being honest. We got screwed. How is this happening? I think that might be a comment more than a question, but we have said all along, if you don't fill out your applications and you're not honest, I mean, you might have gotten the funds, but they're going to find you. Same for the Rrf. I know many of you, as it pertains to the Rrf, have reached out and said the guy down the street is not a minority, he's not a veteran, and he's certainly not a woman. So how did he get his funds? This is all going to come out in the wash at the end of the day. So people might be getting funds or might have gotten funds, but they are enforcing and they are following up. And if you didn't get them correctly, they will be requiring you to return the funds you received. Thank you, Melissa, for all the clarification. I know it's clear as mud, isn't it? So to be 100% clear, we need to, as of today, apply ASAP for the outdoor permit dining extension. Can you include the direct link for us to do this? We can put in a link to PLCB Plus, but there's not just an application you download. So all of you that are licensees know that to renew your license every year, it's all online. It's all through PLCB Plus. So you need to log in to PLCB Plus the same way you did when you did your temporary, and just apply for a permanent extension of premise. Is outdoor seating referring to selling liquor at outdoor extended seating? Not all outdoor seating. So outdoor seating is a licensed premise. So outdoor seating is during COVID, you couldn't have indoor dining. You had a sidewalk cafe set up, and the businesses on either side of you said, we're working remote. You can put your tables in front of our business. So you applied to extend your license into those areas. So you could serve alcohol out there and sell alcohol. That is ending if you do not apply for the extension. So people could come and sit outside, but you cannot sell them alcohol or serve them alcohol outside unless it's a licensed premise. If it's not licensed, then technically they're eating outside and drinking outside in public, which is an open container violation. So really this impacts your ability to serve alcohol and sell alcohol to people on your outdoor seating if you don't apply to make it permanent. Do we know what the fine is for either selling drinks to go and outdoor seating violations? Not off the top of my head. I feel like $250 sounds right to me, but it all depends. It's not a high level violation, but it just depends also how many violations, because you all know when the LCE comes in, if they get a heads up on something, they're not just checking the thing they got the heads up on, they're doing a full inspection. But they also could give you a warning. That's going to be up to the LCE and the inspector at the time. So, I mean, they could be saying, you know, right now, maybe we're going to give a warning, or they could say, show up and you have 6 violations, which I hope none of you ever do, and just kind of throw the book at you. But it's not a high fine as far as I know in terms of violations there. But if you get cited for it over and over again, it does impact your ability to renew your license and get renewed. So keep that in mind. Whenever you get a violation, that's under consideration whenever you renew your license with the LCB. If we already had applied last year and submitted all the drawings, etc., we need to resubmit again, correct? If you applied for the free extension, yes, you will need to apply for a permanent and resubmit everything. Because as you know, last year when you applied, you had to submit kind of what you were doing, and the LCB said, okay, God bless you, go survive, serve your people. Now they have to come and inspect and make sure that your outdoor area is legal and you're checking all the boxes and you're doing it. So now you need to resubmit everything, pay the $220, and they will need to come out and inspect the area that you're extending to make sure that you're following the law. If 1154 looks likely to be vetoed by the governor, will the PRLA support a dual track of pushing 425 too? We wanted 425 to move all along, but yes, we would like, our thought is 425's there. We could load it up. So if the governor vetoes it and he does it quickly, if he does, yes. I mean, our top priority, we're not going to, and you all have known me now for going on 15 months. At no point am I or PRLA going to throw up our hands and say, oh, too bad, we lost. But what we will do is, if he does veto it, is go back to the legislature and say, here we are, now where do we go from here? And 425 would be the perfect solution to solve the problem. But like I said, they need to hear from you, because there are people out there that are trying to move things that have a lot more money than I do. I'd love to have as much money as some of these people do, but we need your help. There are tens of thousands of you in the state. Your legislators have got to hear from you, because if they don't know how important it is, and they just lose sight of what they need to do. But at the end of the day, our top priority is going to be to address both of these issues before they recess at the end of June, and demand that they do so. Kamara put her information in there if you need help applying for a permanent extension. Am I able to sell drinks inside of my license? Ooh, hold on, I jumped up too far. Okay, let's see. Am I able to sell drinks inside of my licensed establishment and allow guests to sit outside of my outdoor garden and property that I own? Yes, but you cannot serve them. You cannot serve them or have them pay or do anything. I'm pretty sure you can still do that, but I need to double check because my brain is foggy from session this week. You cannot serve them in any way, but if it's on your property and they are going and sitting on your property with their alcohol and it's not an open container violation, then yes, that would be permissible. I reserve the right to change my mind once I sleep, though. The provision for non-contiguous extension is in 1154 and 425 right now. But 1154 also contains our cocktails to go provision. So that's the focus, is House Bill 1154. As a result of the lawsuit, with people who received RRF funds need to be concerned that they would be asked to return funds. No, if you received your funds, they were put in your bank, you're good. You got in ahead of time. If you are in limbo and you have not received your funds, then you're not going to receive them at this point in time. If you're one of the minority-owned businesses, but if you did receive them, then you're good. You received them. You got in before they made the change. and John had to run. And I think we are nearing the end. I mean, all I can say, like I said, and I'll keep on saying it, I need you guys to reach out to your legislators. That's all I can beg for you to do right now is for them to hear from their constituents. So if nothing else, do that, and then also reach out to your congressperson about RRF. Those are our action items for this week. And I think that's all I got, Hope.
Thank you, Melissa. And thank you everybody for getting on this call. As always, it's recorded and we will send this out. Amy Hathaway's contact information is up here for anyone that needs that. And thank you all for joining us this week. We appreciate all your commitment to our organization and everything we're doing. With that, I hope everybody has a safe week, and we are here if you need anything, so please reach out. Thank you.